Hey guys, Michael here from Chase and Gather. I'm going to do a quick boot review. I've had these Crispi GTX Hunters, or Crispi Hunter GTX, for 12 months now, exactly 1 year. The reason I bought these was that I was doing a trip into the Southern Alps to chase the tahr, and yeah, I had some boots before these which were very I guess average for hunting. So they were, I think they're called the Magnum Stealth. So they're a boot that the Air Force and the police issued with. So they're a very comfortable, soft boot designed for wearing for long periods of time. They're not waterproof and they're not particularly that stable through the midsole or through the shank. So I wanted to upgrade to a boot that was going to give me some key things: stable, carrying heavy loads, durable, so able to last for a number of years, and I wanted one that was going to be waterproof as well. So a few key things. Obviously there's heaps of different boot options out there in the New Zealand market, but I did a bit of research into getting some people's thoughts on these boots. I've seen a few people wearing them, so I did ask them some questions around what they were using them for, how they rated them. So yep, I've taken their advice, and 12 months down the line I'm very happy with these boots. So just to run through a couple of the key features that I can explain. Someone can probably explain these a little bit better than me, but I guess the first thing is that you'll notice that it has a very long shank on it. So from the bottom to the top is 12 inches, so it's a long shank. One thing I will say about these boots before we get too far into it is that they are not dog proof. Recently got a puppy and she managed to get into biting a hole or a couple of holes in the top before I could get hold of her. So that's not wear and tear, that's dog chewing. Yeah, so tall shank. The material on the upper here is leather, so it's nubuck leather, very hard wearing, and it takes some really tough punishment to even wear through that stuff. So it's waterproof. They are waterproof up to, there's a Gore-Tex lining inside here. You can see the grey there. That's where it's all waterproof up to. So around about here is where you're waterproof to. However, I have gone up into streams up to this sort of height, and because you've got your long tongue, that's all waterproof through there as well. So yeah, I have actually gone almost up to the top. They are made in Italy and designed in Italy as well. One key thing that I did like about this boot was that it has the full high-rise rubber rand. So that is an added layer of protection which runs all the way around the boot. Comes up through the mid or the instep there, and then it's nice and high on the back as well. So a couple of fingers spacing. So yep, full rise rubber rand. On the bottom, that's your sole. It's a Vibram rubber, so pretty chunky and very grippy. So yeah, I didn't have any issues in the Alps going over all the rocks and boulders there. These were fantastic, like a really good boot. I felt stable the whole time in these. One thing with the, I guess the outsole, which is rubber, but then the midsole, they are quite stiff. So in terms of their stiffness, I'd say they were medium to stiff if you had to categorize it, which means that if you are predominantly a stealthy, we all try and be stealthy, but stealthy bush stalker, if you do a lot of bush stalking, that's your main thing, because the boot is so stiff, it will actually be quite tough for you to walk through the bush really quietly. So that's the trade-off, I think, because this is a really rigid boot and it has awesome stability and balance in it. You do lose sort of that feeling a little bit when you're walking over a stick or something, like if you're wearing sports shoes or even in socks, thick socks, you'd feel those sticks under your feet and you'd be able to adjust them. But because these boots are quite rigid through the midsole and their stiffness is what gives them all that stability, they're not the quietest boot if you're bush stalking. Perfect for that sub-alpine and alpine terrain. Really, really good. Very stable. These rubber rands come into their own when you're walking across scree slopes, when you've obviously got a steep shingle slide and your foot is cutting into the face. You often get the rubbing of those stones on this side of the boot, so the outside of the boot when you're walking, and that can actually cut up your leather, but because you've got the full rubber rand there, that's protecting all of that sort of scree abrasion. Full lace up boot. It's got the tongue lock here, so I'll just chuck them on for you. One thing I've noticed as well is that with these boots, because they are so comfortable, I've actually gone to a thinner sock. Like, these are really thin socks, which in my other boots I had to wear pretty thick socks to get the comfort factor. So these are a really nice locking system. So now we get into this part here, which is your tongue lock. Flick it under there and jack it up nice and tight. So what that does there is that prevents that tongue from moving from side to side, so it keeps it nice and central there. So that's our boot from the back. Yeah, they've got a nice little area in the back here as well, which gives that boot a little bit of flexion, which you do need for this type of boot, because they are obviously quite a tall shank. So yeah, that's how high they go up to on me, which means sometimes that I don't actually need to wear any gaiters. Nice and easy to undo. Come with these long laces, which is awesome. Yeah, so that's our quick rundown on the boot. With this inside layer, you can see a grey layer in there. This is my dog chewed one. Inside here, this is your Gore-Tex, so it comes, you know, almost right to the top. That's actually insulated as well, so if you're looking for a boot where you need a little bit more warmth in it, this would be a really good one to go to. The padding is awesome around the top here, and yeah, it's just a very well built boot if you need load carrying capacity and stability and durability. Very easy to waterproof these boots. I use the Snowbees, I think it's called Snowbees, Snow Seal. Use that Snow Seal wax on them. They are very, very sturdy in the middle. So if you are wanting a boot that has got medium to high stiffness and really, really good stability, you know, you can't twist the boot. Like, that's how stable this boot is. So that's the key thing. And I did see some people that are asking me, they'd seen me wearing them and they said, oh, you know, I've had an ankle reconstruction or calf damage or calf injuries and stuff like that, or repetitive ones, and they said, oh, will this be a good boot? And I said, yes, it definitely is, because you've got so much protection going on there. It's incredible. The weight of these boots, think each boot is around about 920 grams, so they're not the lightest boots on the market, but if you've got all these features in them, you would expect them to have a little bit of that weight to them. You can take the insole out, so if you want to dry your boots out, you can take that guy out and dry out your boot. So yeah, these retail in New Zealand, I think, for about $790, which sounds like a lot, but you know, you've got to invest in good footwear, because at the end of the day, if you're out hunting and your boots blow out, you're in a bit of trouble. But yeah, for me, a lot of my requirements for a boot are that they are stable, durable and waterproof, and this ticks all the boxes. I do a lot of pack training, so take my pack and go for pack walks up the hill or trails. I do some of my workouts in my hunting boots, because I think getting used to and staying conditioned to your boots is really important, and I genuinely do enjoy putting these on and going for walks in them. So yeah, I've had the pack up to 65 kgs, and carrying that load in these boots has been awesome. I'm throwing in a couple of hill repeats up a trail here, so I know exactly where they are, so I can keep track of them